Hi everyone, this is Ellen Francisco. If you don't know me, welcome to my channel. If you do, welcome back. Today I'm going to demystify Akashic Records and attempt to add a perspective I can almost guarantee you've never heard of anywhere else. My perspective comes from eyes trained in the anatomy of the human energy system and the thousands of hours I've clocked working on individual clients and the interesting experiences I've had working on them. The morphogenic field that we are contains the aura and the chakras and all the channels of the information that runs through it all. That field, the quantum field, as some people refer to it, is my playground where my curiosity gets to satisfy itself while looking for energetic truths and connections to all-knowing possibilities. So over the course of many of these sessions, Spirit has taught me every step of the way, telling me stories about the lives my clients live. And every once in a while, I come across someone who needs work done in their Akashic records. And Spirit tells me what to do to the energetic body to allow that to happen. So with my eyes closed and my psychic vision on, I'll go in through the auric structure and get the work done. I once transitioned one Akashic record keeper out so another could come in. It was fascinating to say the least. The first time it happened, I got visions of a dusty record room with an antiquated record keeper who was virtually frozen in time from inactivity. It was interesting to note that the client presented as feeling stuck and not knowing what the problem was. I kept seeing old-fashioned everything in the room. You may have heard or understand from firsthand experience yourself the reality that our spirit guides aren't always with us forever, ever. Many come in during critical junctures in our soul growth while operating our mission of intent and purpose, whatever that may be individually. And I've learned it is that way with the record keepers as well. A guide once pointed out during a session that there was energetic matter that I would need to move out of this person's physical body space and up into the records. More often than not, it was matter that I moved from the lower chakras. The root is the first chakra and is below the belly button. The sacral chakra is pretty much at the belly button, and sometimes even out of the solar plexus around just the bottom of the rib cage. So here I am moving all of this stuff around. So that stuff I was told needed to move out of the body because whatever it represented as a lesson for the client to learn was already completed. So that information did not need to be close at hand in the physical body, taking up space that would be needed for upcoming lessons and the inevitable room in which they would need to grow. Yeah, so I've been a little disturbed that many who claim to be Akashic Records experts discount that the record keepers even exist at all. I know there are a lot of courses out there that give certifications in reading the Akashic Records, but in the research I did, I found huge chunks of information missing from the full understanding of what they are and how they tie into our daily lives in the here and now, and where it really seems to matter. In the searches I did on Google, I couldn't find much that helped, in fact. So I think it's a very limited view. Many seem to think that the Akash can be read like a book that opens and can be flipped through, and that masters, teachers, and loved ones can help gain access to the records, and that the practitioner is reading from that book. But I dare say some of this is backward based on what I've experienced firsthand. I believe that the master's guides and loved ones may help lead the way to get some of the information available in the records. I believe that the record keepers only dole out the information that pertain to whatever lessons or challenges we need to learn from in the here and now. Information that would help us get to our next step virtually. And as far as I've seen in my own practice, they absolutely do play incredible roles in monitoring the progression of our soul's journey. I was curious to see also what other practitioners who specialize in the records have as far as their own working knowledge. But I've learned a lot, not because of what they told me, but because of what they haven't told me. I've learned way more from the record keepers themselves. And today I'm going to share what I've learned in really easy terms that I hope will resonate with you. And certainly leave your comments down below. I'd really love to hear if you are a practitioner, what your experience with them are, and if you're not, if you have a sense that you may relate to this process that So I got a really visceral example of the records recently and how tangible they really are. When I was at home one day minding my own business, I saw my own record keeper in broad daylight above my head. And when I say I saw in this reference, I mean that my eyes were open and it was like she was in the room with me, just really high above me looking down. And more about that later. I even drew some pictures to help explain what this all means and what it all looks like. So I'm going to share those with you as well. I know many are trying to solve the overall puzzle of who they really are and why, and what this whole journey spiritually is all about for them personally. That's why they land on my doorstep a lot of times and want me to take a look, because they can sense something is going on usually, and they need to tune into themselves. I think of myself as a change catalyst for people. They often come to see me because they need direction and they have bits and pieces of their own larger puzzle and are trying to feel their way through the right choices for the right reasons. They're often coming in with questions: are they right? Are they doing the right things? Are they doing it for the right reason? Are they making a wrong turn? What do they do if they're going wrong? They try to do these self-corrects before it's too late. So someone like me can come in and within seconds start to see their entire energetic structure. And by that, I do mean the morphogenetic field around us. And so that would be the outer aura, the inner chakras, the channels with which all the information moves through in order to communicate. So part of what I do for a living is I read these energetic fields and help, obviously, people figure a few things out along the way. So without further ado, I would like to share some of the most thrilling connections I've made recently. And here is the first. We are basically the Akash. It's part of our energetic cellular memory. The living library, as many refer to it, is really how the information is stored in the chakras and how each chakra retains its energetic truths. They're encoded into these locations within our body so that experiences, thoughts, and memories all converge in these certain hubs. So when you are being read by a psychic, I believe that is where they are reading from. I believe much of the Akash is easily discoverable to those with access to subtle energies, and that the majority of the information that we need to access is actually in our body. So for all intents and purposes, we are the Akash. We are our own living library. How do I know that? Because I've seen the evidence of its impact in our own physical body, and I've seen way beyond the 7 chakras that are just the beginning. So as we cycle through these phases in our life, we go through growth phases and lessons and expansion phases and reward cycles. You know, you build the information that stores itself in the records. You create the matter that matters out of those experiences. I believe that the Akashic Record Keeper is an exalted dimensional being, a spirit guide of sorts, but with way more clout and a whole lot more responsibility, who is assigned to maintain the records and monitor the progress during anyone's incarnation. So once you complete a lesson, the microscopic energetic filaments that make up the matter of that lesson disperse from the body and go up into the record room in the 12th chakra, where your record keeper stores it appropriately. So many maybe don't even know that there's a 12th chakra, but I've seen this over and over again as I've done these little maneuvers for spirit and my clients. So yeah, so the record keeper stores this information accordingly, and it has to move out of the body, or you won't have the space in which to grow during your next lesson cycle, because we're constantly cycling through these things that we need to be working on, the things and the promises that we've made to accomplish, or at least try to accomplish here. The Akashic Records holds the script you wrote for yourself before you even came into this life. I've learned it includes what major lessons you'll work on, the themes that will repeat based on any unfinished work in previous lives, and those you pick up in this life, the souls you are contracted to interplay with, and within the context of your lessons and themes, it includes the pivotal points where all things converge so that you meet your goals, and it includes approximations on how you will die. So as you cycle through your lessons and themes and relationships, you hit certain marks in the script you've created for yourself at pivotal points along the way. Each consciousness has the option of exercising the free will to dodge these lessons, to avoid the growth they've commissioned for themselves to take part in. But ultimately, there are forces in the universe that will see to it that you stick to the script, so to speak. So enter the record keepers. They are the taskmasters. They make sure the job gets done and deploy whatever heavenly help or otherwise might be necessary to keep you on course. So let's not forget that huge parts of your consciousness are instantly inaccessible when you enter a body in this life, and you vibe yourself down into this 3-dimensional limited ego mind structure. And so you've got this script that's been written, and the memory of how it's supposed to play out for all intents and purposes is mostly gone until we activate in one way or another some of this buried information. So as the record keepers are monitoring your progress, they will send in the troops, so to speak, to help keep you on target. They'll disperse your own masters, guides, and loved ones to help send you messages to catch you up or write your course. They will send the downloads that you need to perform your next tasks and offload unnecessary files as well. This is where that drawing I mentioned earlier comes in. So there I was sitting at my own desk, minding my own business one afternoon, and I already knew I was in a deep healing cycle. It had been going on for days. I was processing some pretty deep grief. I've been coming to terms with something that was really hard to accept and to move on from. So I've been working on it on and off for years, and all of a sudden I see out of the corner of my eye these gold filaments of light jettison out of my body on the left and right sides in this horizontal manner, just like, "Er," and they stop just as quick, and just a few inches beyond my aura, in fact, all of a sudden they turned vertical and really fast up they went, moving upward toward the ceiling. So my eyes followed up, and then I saw her looking down at me, this strawberry blonde, curly haired, toga wearing, divine feminine woman waving at me while she collected the light modules that were moving up, and all the while nodding and moving her chin like everything's just very reassuring. So this visceral rendition of the process of updating the living library while you live your challenges and learn your lessons is really unforgettable, and just more proof for me that such a process really does exist. So now I know that when you complete a cycle, whether it's a growth cycle, a reward cycle, or whatever it is, all of the information you needed to get you that far is no longer needed in your physical structure. It's then that these filaments of light information systematically move up into your records to complete that part of the story. I think that that's why after we learn vital lessons or reach new understandings within ourselves, we often feel lighter. Once these lessons are complete, our attention leans towards something new naturally, something that we now have space for. And then the process starts all over again. New downloads occur, which I believe come from the Akashic Record Keeper. They occur, and so you have what you need to work with during your next cycle. So where it can really become fascinating is where someone may be dodging their script, right? Like they may be dodging what they came here to do at every corner, and the responsibility they have to be who they came here to be, questionable whether they're going to get there. So it looks like on the surface, they're never going to get there. Wherever there is, we all know that person. We look at it and think, oh my God, they're never going to do their work. They're in trouble if they don't do their work. You can just feel it like a pressure, an invisible pressure that tells you if they don't get to it, something bad is going to happen. And suddenly, some event does happen seemingly out of nowhere that ultimately rights their course and saves their day in the nick of time. At least we hope that's how it turns out. But often that's how it is. So whether there is a divine experience, like a near-death experience, or someone close passes and then comes to visit them from beyond, or it could even be a physical accident that alters the course of someone's life drastically. It could also be a person in their world who brings new information to them and ultimately helps them get back on their path. And often I see that while it may appear that they are behind schedule and there's no hope for them, this one little correction can make time almost disappear and make up for the lost time in no time at all. So in regard to the free will we all have to make our own choices, there still is this script we are destined to stick to one way or another in varying degrees, and the variations of possibilities come from the optional realities available as a result of these choices. So the Akashic Record Keeper maintains these records and charts the progress as it's made. This record updates accordingly. And because there are so many probabilities that exist even before we actually embody here, it's possible that we may learn our lessons to a satisfying conclusion. It also opens up the possibility that a new record keeper will be necessary. So the record keepers have their own contracts and commitments and conditions and are meant to change out as your completions occur. With every completion, you are rewarded and blessings are bestowed upon you. Not many people recognize when they're in those cycles, but they can really help catapult a lot of your progress, you know, into better degrees and higher degrees of comfort for sure. So the pace at which you work and the willingness with which you align fully with these promptings, according to how it's scripted, it should go or may go, will determine how exalted a life you live here and whether you find your own heaven on earth in the process. And even back to probabilities, you really are encoded with minimum and maximum possibilities before you even come here, and how well you align to what you're meant to be doing really shows you know, the quality of life that you're living. So that's what I believe is happening with the Akashic Records and the Akashic Record Keepers. I think it's just, you know, I think it starts in a lot of ways in the chakras and works up from there, and that they really are being monitored in expert ways that are fascinating. Please do leave your comments down below. I'd love to know what you think about these possibilities, and if you want to subscribe to my channel, I would certainly love it, and would love to see you again sometime soon. So take very good care of yourself in the meantime. Keep in mind, you do still have lots of invisible forces that are working to help you live your best life and open up the most fulfilling of possibilities. So you do write that into the script, right? Like you get to write in the goodness. It's a lot of times people don't access the goodness though, right? Like they're not willing to do some of the inner work necessary to get there. They, you know, want to shy off some of the hard stuff. And they don't realize that getting through that hard stuff is what opens up some of these reward cycles and gifts from the universe that come in unexpectedly when you most need them. Anyway, so have a great day out there. Be good. Bye for now. We'll see you next time.